Have you ever been deep inside Power BI, staring at your screen and just thinking, okay, which one is it? Related, related table, or lookup value? If that sounds familiar, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to finally clear up the confusion between these three super powerful DAX functions. Let's dive in.
Okay, let's kick things off with a problem that I'm sure feels super familiar, especially if you're coming from the world of Excel. You've got your sales data in one table. You've got your product details in another. So how in the world do you get them to talk to each other? How do you see your sales by, say, product category? That's the core problem we're going to solve.
So here's the game plan. We're going to start with the absolute foundation, data relationships. Then we'll break down each of these functions one by one. After that, we'll put them head to head, and we'll wrap up with a really clear, simple guide on which one to use and when.
Now, before we write a single line of code, we have to talk about the why. You know, the magic of Power BI isn't really in the functions themselves. Nope, it's in the incredibly powerful relationships that these functions use to do their work.
It all begins with our data. So take a look at this sales table. In Power BI lingo, this is what we call a fact table. It's where all the action happens, right? It records every sale, every event, every transaction. This is the heart of our data model.
And then, to give those facts some meaning, we have our dimension tables, like this products table. These tables describe the who, the what, the where of our data. They provide all the rich context for the numbers that we saw in our fact table.
And this, right here, is where the magic starts to happen. We link these two tables using a column they have in common, in this case, the product ID, and we create what's called a one-to-many relationship. It means one product can have many sales. Think of it like a virtual super-fast VLOOKUP that's happening behind the scenes. It's ready to go, but it hasn't added any columns, yet.
Now, for this whole setup to work perfectly, the one side of our relationship, that's our products table, has to follow two absolutely critical rules. First, that key column, the product ID, has to be unique. No duplicates allowed. And second, you can't have any blank values. If you get those two things right, your model's going to be rock solid.
Okay, so we built our perfect connection. Now let's get our hands dirty and solve a real problem.
So, you're looking at your sales table. It's got the product ID, which is great for the computer, but for a report, well, that's not so useful for us humans, is it? We need the actual product name. So how do we pull that information across?
And the answer is a beautifully simple function called related. Seriously, it's so easy. You just give it one piece of information, the name of the column you want to go get. It then uses that relationship we built like a superhighway, traveling from the many side, our sales table, to the one side to grab that value for us.
And boom! Just like that, you write the formula, create a new calculated column, and your sales table is instantly enriched with the correct product name for every single row. It's incredibly fast, it's efficient, and it's the #1 way you're going to bring descriptive info into your main data table.
But what if we want to flip the script? What if we're sitting on the one side of the relationship and we need to look at all the data on the many side? Well, this is where our next function comes into play.
Okay, new challenge. Let's hop over to our products table. The question is totally different now. We want to know, for each of our products, what are the total sales? To do that, we need to look across that relationship and somehow sum up all of those matching sales transactions.
For this job, we need related table. Now listen closely, because this is the key difference. Related grabs one single value. Related table, well, the name kind of gives it away, right? It doesn't grab one value. It goes and fetches an entire table of all the matching rows. So it's not giving you the final answer, it's giving you all the raw data you need to calculate an answer.
Now, because it gives you a whole table, you can't just drop it into a cell. You'll almost always use it inside what's called an iterator function, like SUMX. So what SUMX does is it takes that table of sales records that related table just gave it, and then row by row by row, it does a calculation, in our case, multiplying quantity times price, and then at the very end, it sums up all those little results.
Okay, so related and related table are awesome, but they have one non-negotiable requirement. They absolutely need that pre-existing active relationship. So what happens when you can't build one? Or what if you just need a bit more flexibility?
Well, that's when you call in the cavalry. Meet lookup value. If related is that smooth, paved superhighway, lookup value is like your rugged, all-terrain 4x4. It doesn't need a formal relationship. You just tell it three things: what column you want to get, what column you want to search in, and what value you're looking for.
It's basically the spiritual successor to VLOOKUP from Excel.
So the number one reason to use this is, well, when you just don't have a relationship. But here's the really cool part. You can also use it to match on multiple columns at the same time, like finding the right price for a specific product, but only in a specific month. It's your secret weapon for tricky situations. But, and this is important, all that flexibility comes with a trade-off. It's generally not as fast as using related.
All right, we've met our 3 contenders. Time to put them side by side in the ring for the ultimate showdown. This should make the choice crystal clear.
Let's start with the most common scenario, fetching a single value. On the left, we've got related. It needs a relationship, it's super fast, and it always goes from the many side to the one side. On the right, lookup value. No relationship needed, it can go in any direction, but it's usually a bit slower.
This table right here, this is your cheat sheet. Let's just walk through it real quick. For related, a relationship is mandatory, and you're pulling a single value from the one side. For related table, relationship is also mandatory, but you're going the other way, from one to many so you can aggregate stuff. And then you have lookup value, the free agent. A relationship is totally optional, and it gives you ultimate flexibility to grab a value from anywhere and bring it to anywhere.
Okay, I know that was a lot. So let's boil it all down into a super simple, actionable guide that you can use every single time you're building a report.
Just ask yourself these questions in this exact order. First, and most importantly, can I build a proper, clean, one-to-many relationship? If the answer is yes, you should almost always use it. It is by far the most efficient path. From there, it's simple. Are you pulling one value to the many side? Use related. Are you summarizing many values on the one side? Use related table. And only if the answer to that first question is no, should you reach for lookup value.
And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? The goal isn't just about hacking together a formula that works once. It's about building a data model that's efficient, that can scale, and that's easy for you or someone else on your team to understand 6 months from now. Choosing the right function for the right job, that's not just a technical choice. It's the foundation of building truly great analysis.